Hey, what's up? This is Del Jones from the band PunkBordello, and you are watching the PunkBordello podcast. I want to thank you for being here, and I also want to mention that the next song that we release is called Hotter. It releases on all streaming platforms May 6th of 2025, and you can find that early before release for $5 on Bandcamp. You can listen to it about 3 times before you'll hit a paywall. But that's just fair game. If you want to see it and download it before it releases, you can give us $5 or whatever you want to support the podcast, to support us as a band. And then you can also do the same with the next release, Take the L, which normally would be like June 16th. And that one would be $10 or pay what you want whenever or whatever you want to throw our way. But we want to thank you for being here, listening to the local underground artists, the heart of our city, our country. When we sit down with this next guest, I really hope you enjoy it. Share it on your socials, help us grow. We have some really killer guests that are going to be coming up, and I'm really excited to do this podcast. So thanks everybody for watching. Keep doing that shit Chicago style, you know what I'm saying? All right.
How's it
All
going?
right. I think I need to cut off a little bit of that ending there. But,
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think you did pretty good though.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm a musician. I'm not fucking like.
You're like, I'm not like a big podcast person yet.
Yeah, like I just
We'll get there.
I threw so real quick. So we're this is episode 3 of the podcast. I just realized I fucked up the title and the thing. I'll have to edit that later. But we're here with Sativa Reyes. I have known you for a little while.
Like a year, 2 years.
A couple year or two, something like that. Yeah.
At least a year.
And we've done some performances together, both as solo acts, and with like full bands behind us. I remember there was this one. I don't remember. Maybe it was Magoo's.
Was it Regis?
I don't remember, but I have seen you play with a full band before, like just on a dime, and you just fucking own that shit. You know what I mean? So like, I was like, it's wild because it's like a departure from like the music that you normally make, and like I sat back and I was like, fuck, man, if this guy always had a full ass band behind him and he just did whatever off of whatever they did, he could make he should be able to make a fucking career out of that, because the shit was fire. You were improvising very, very fluidly, and it was like, yeah,
dude,
okay.
It was so hard. But you know what's funny? I keep hearing that in the industry is that a lot of people right now are looking for rappers that have a full band behind them.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's crazy.
Honestly, like you gotta understand why though. It's because like you're joining two worlds together, and you're elevating what is already pretty cool and taking it to another level of musicianship. Like there's a lot of different things that you can do with it, and I think you are a prime example of that, because when you play with a full band behind you, like I had no idea that you were just fucking winging it that day, man. It was like Hey, you really have the improvisation element of it down, and that is like a key element in my book for musicianship. Hopefully, I mean, my air conditioning or heating just kicked on.
Oh no, air conditioning problems.
What are you gonna do? Who cares? Anyway, so tell me about your most recent release. Just as a jumping off point, what are you hoping to do with it? Where was it? What did you do differently from the last one? And what would you like to do differently on the next one? Like specifically your previous release, this one, and then the next one. Like, talk to me about those.
So honestly, I only made this song that I just released, King Friday. It was kind of like an accident. Like I didn't really mean for it to be as like good as I thought it would be. I was actually only in the studio because I was working on a collaboration with somebody else, and I was like, oh well, I kind of have this like in the like stored in the back. Let me just record it anyway since I have more studio time. And then I recorded it, and I actually really liked how it turned out. Especially since this is the second time I've ever like really gone to a studio and like actually recorded something that I liked. So I put it out, and I feel like it's doing better than my other songs right now. Like I've gotten a lot of like compliments on it. So I think what definitely elevated me was like to like better than like the last song is that I felt like the quality was better because it wasn't me mixing it. It was like an
Yeah.
actual mixing guy.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think that's something that I'm gonna keep doing in the future. Um,
Right.
and what I want to do differently, I think I want to actually take my time to put some marketing behind the next song before it's actually like out. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
why am I gonna waste all this money and then like it falls on deaf ears?
Yeah, and I mean that's the biggest struggle about the music is that it has become so commodified and oversaturated that it's hard to get anyone to care about your music because so many people have music
Yeah,
now.
right.
It's mad easy and it's not getting any harder with AI on the horizon and what people are going to be able to do with it then. And so then it becomes like a musician where what I come from is having it in your hands and like
Right.
learning one and then taking it to the other ones and kind of realizing that, oh shit, like a lot of the same stuff and principles that are important here I can take over here, with the exception of drums because that's kind of like separate from the rest of like the melodic instruments and what have you. But and then I think the most humbling thing for me was I had like a studio session that I played bass on once upon a time, long time ago, at a college, and this guy came in and he was the songwriter. We were doing his song, and uh, what he was doing, he had no idea what he was doing, and it was
Did you tell him that?
simple, but you could tell it was like it was gonna be so. Like I mean, it was simple because they didn't know what he was doing, but that was what made it shine, and that's
Oh,
what
really?
made it so relatable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's very humbling to see to think about how anal and fucking anal retentive about fucking music theory I could have been, and that was one of the experiences that kind of made me be like, well, I mean, it's cool to know what you're doing. You can be great if you really know what you're doing, but at the same time you can also have something like of absolute fucking fire and not know a fucking thing about music, and that's one of the beautiful things
Isn't
about
that
it. It's
interesting?
also one of the kind of uh difficult things about being a musician is because then it also translates to everybody's different take on like how to make a living off of music. And the thing that kind of like irritates me is if you even if you put no level of effort into it, obviously you're gonna have those like performances at the very beginning, right? Where you have to kind of learn how to perform. But you're also gonna have to fucking move on and learn how to fill a room better and fucking try to think outside of the box because like it's not all going to work the same way, and then especially with trends going downwards of people wanting to like go out and see the show down the street, you know what I mean, at least in
Oh,
like
dude.
major cities
Yes.
because you're competing with so much. It's just you get layer of different reason as to why a venue would be like, oh well, we can't pay you, we can't guarantee you money off the bat. You know what I mean?
They're like, I guess you just gotta pay us, buddy.
Yeah.
Want
And the other problem is that musicians don't all agree enough to be able to organize and like an actors guild where there's like a way that it works, because there's a couple of different ways that people try to run shows, and some of them are shifty and some of them ain't. You know what I mean? I feel like if you like the hardest part of being an artist is developing like honest relationships and doing your best to like also try and promote the show. But that also coming back on the gatekeepers and the promoters and the, you know, what have you, to be able to pick like quality acts, you know, so that they have a good name and a good reputation and people see, you know, their shows and people just keep coming and it's like an ongoing thing.
it's such a struggle.
It is, and it's it's literally the problem with music is the same thing that makes it great, and that is that it is a fucking reflection of life, you know. If you think about it, it's I mean, it comes back to everything being so fucking commodified. But anyway, so we talked about your current release, King for a Day. What was your previous release before that?
Before that one, I had Black Candles, Black
Okay.
Candles Freestyle. It had more of like a evil theme to it, but it was just kind of like.
So let me ask you this, because I've always wanted to ask you this shit.
He's like, I've been thinking about this whole time.
Like, the entire time that I've known you, no bullshit.
Mhm.
So like, are you really into like occultist type shit, or is it really just you being like facetious and just being like, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be so honest with you. I'm actually atheist.
Okay.
But I guess I like to ruffle people's feathers, and I'm like, oh, the
That's
devil,
what I thought,
you
and
know.
like I've seen people be unappreciative of it, like in the room, and I personally have been appreciative of it because it's like the ultimate middle finger. I don't know. It looks
I don't
cool
know.
to
It's just
me.
so
You're on.
it's just so stupid to me how many people I've came across that took it really seriously.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna go sacrifice a baby after this performance. You know, I promise.
Yeah. But that's the big question, and that's part of your brand is keeping them guessing, I guess. But I guess we kind of just let the bag out. But it's
Yeah,
okay
no,
to
it's all
it's
right.
okay to be just a fucking regular person trying to do your shit and make it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, for real, dude. It's already
um,
challenging enough. It's already
yeah.
challenging enough.
But so what, like, so that's even a different world. I've been kind of like trying to immerse myself in different worlds as far as that goes. Like in the house community as well as like EDM and like R&B. It's hard to get a foot or a say so or this or that fucking in anywhere unless you have like demand and a little bit of clout. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have those things yet, you know, but
it takes
I'm
time.
hoping over time, if I just keep it consistent, you know what I mean, I can just kind of be like, hey, motherfuckers, Chicago style rock and roll is like out here. Guess what? And I made it. So fucking, you know, check out the podcast, check out us, you know, check out the fucking people who are awesome and dope musicians that I have on this podcast. The other thing, I mean, is just I'm not trying to make it like limited to musicians. Um, damn near anybody can be on as long as you have some shit to say. You know what I mean? I just don't want to be
It's like
out here just,
come say your shit.
you know what I mean? Like, but anyway, so I'm so glad that we got that squared away because I was always fucking curious about that shit. I was like, this is a movie really?
You're like, I don't
But
know, maybe.
yeah, I was a little bit scared of you for a little while. I'm not gonna lie, but I
That's part of
appreciate.
it.
Yeah, exactly. But so what I wanted to ask earlier was, do you obviously experience some adversity, just like the kind of music that you're making? Um, but what have you found like other artists in Chicago that do anything like you whatsoever that you have been able to like build bills with or anything?
I mean, there's like a few, but I feel like a lot of them kind of just I feel like they're not really original. I feel like a lot of them don't really want to be original either. It feels like they just like they're copying off of like what other artists are doing, and they're almost like making it their personality. Which obviously a lot of people do that at first, you know, when they're still trying to figure out kind of like what their sound is.
Yeah.
But you know, once you start building a whole career on it, it's kind of like, you know, like I feel like it kind of takes away some of like the specialness, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I had to go through a lot of like brand changes before I found like the logo and the album artwork and the theme that kind of really fucking made me go, yeah, that can be bigger than fucking I even, you know, perceive it to be. But
Mhm.
you know, the weird kind of like line that we toe between these different ways of thinking is like it's kind of where ego meets reality. And what's wild is to watch people just kind of force it and stretch it out so that they feel like they have something to say before it's even gotten there. And I mean, I guess I'm what I'm kind of struggling with is kind of the ability to be able to kind of undermine it until it becomes something like actually like where people are like actually respecting it, like respectable.
Like a
Yeah.
brand, bigger brand.
Yeah, well, like I mean, with the brand, with the band, with the fucking everything, you know what I mean? It's hard to make a living doing anything, and see, the thing is I don't have like this is what I've been immersed in since I was like a fucking child. So this is what I know. This is what I
You're
do.
like, this is it.
Yeah, exactly. Like for instance, I am also gonna kind of put you on blast about your like you're also a fucking kick-ass tattoo artist.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So I don't, you know what I mean? I didn't get the visual aspect of it in any regards besides being able to like call something out that looks, you know what I mean, fucking cool, you know, at least to me about that I'd feel confident enough to slap my music to it. I didn't take that as seriously at first. So I went through a couple of brand changes and I mean, you can't just go with like the first kind of iteration of what you come up with. And the funny thing is like I had to release a bunch of shit that I don't like before starting to release some shit that I do like. And then even though that shit that I did like was good, I was like, it's still not like different enough for
Mm-hmm.
me to like want to attach my whole, you know, life and this is the album kind of thing. So I think that's kind of I relate to you in that in that that's the point I'm coming to now in my life as well. And I mean, I've watched you for a while also kind of vet your shit. So where are we going from here? What is the next release? When does it come out? And what's the story behind it?
Um, I'm actually kind of going through a writer's block right now. It's kind of funny. Um, I think I'm gonna think on this one. I am though working on a collaboration right now with what's his name? I'm kidding. No, for real, what's his name? Oh, the Coke God. I
Okay.
always get his name mixed up with another guy because it's this other guy I know his name's like Drugsta, so it like reminds me of Coke God, and I'm like, which one's which? But anyways, I'm working on a collaboration right now with the Coke God, Whisper the Coke God.
Mhm.
But as far as like me actually writing something, I like to take like maybe like a few months.
Mhm.
Um, and I like to do a lot of psychedelics beforehand, and then yeah, that's how I get to writing. But right now, I think I'm working on my.
I'm gonna have to edit that out
No, no,
just
go
so you
ahead.
don't
Go
get popped, bro. Because we're nobodies. They would love to take you in that for sure.
ahead.
Weed ain't no big, ain't that big of a deal, but because it's legal. But I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to protect your ass with that.
Oh, I mean, I don't care. I'm fine. But what was I gonna say? Um, oh yeah, no. Right now, I'm focused on marketing. My newest song, King Friday.
Mhm.
But I'm actually marketing it myself because I actually I went on YouTube and I feel like I've learned a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm employing what I'm learning right now. And so far, it's working. I really just have to put more money behind it. Um, but we'll see how sustainable that is, because you don't really make a lot of music in no, you don't really make a lot of money in the music industry. Um,
Yeah, at least not.
so much behind it, you know.
Yeah, it's like trying to. I mean, there's kind of no way to recoup the funds and the cost of how many years it takes of investment and consistency into your passion
Mm-hmm.
to actually get some sort of fucking return out of it. And music is kind of suffering the worst of that. Like that's kind of true in general. It's gotten harder to turn hobbies into passion only, or sorry, hobbies into money, passions into money, because now everybody can do it. You know what I mean? So waters down how many people you can market to, unless you have like, unless you're selling some shit on like Etsy, and even then you still have to also market that and brand that and build something off of that. And that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight with any of it. I've heard a lot of people actually getting more results out of physical media than anything, because
Really?
people want to. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of videos of artists talking about it. Um, and they're like, yeah, I mean, I sold plenty of CDs because people still want that kind of connection. But the problem is at least that I run into, I know you probably run into, it's harder in a major city because you're competing with so much. Like you'll see, so I was not too long ago. I want to say it was around Christmas time actually. I guess that is kind of long ago, but
Just
but
last
anyway,
year,
just last year. No, I was like literally just driving through Chicago, and I drove through like right under the L by the Chicago Theater, and people were lined up around the block for this artist that wasn't from here.
Mm,
I hadn't
that's
heard of,
interesting.
but some it's like the R&B singers, the house DJs. That is what you'll see people lined up around the block for. And
Yeah.
then we are kind of like the seedy underground, where you don't know if an artist really kills babies or not. But no, yeah, I mean, the thing is like we're put. The difference between here in Chicago, I mean, I say here in Chicago, and I'm out here in Peoria recording an album, but you know what I
Right.
mean? It's an album for Chicago. the the difference between here and like all around the rest of the country is that I find it pretty difficult to find like genuine individuals who are willing to take the chance on themselves to be able to be like, no, this song is really kind of like the best thing that I've ever done in my life. This is kind of like part of my legacy, you know what I mean? And when you make that kind of sound, you make that record, you make your first one, you keep making them on down the line, you keep turning them out. You get down to this place where that's just like, well, now I can't even second guess me because I'm amazed by what I just did. You know what I mean? And
It's
it's
almost
like,
like I think I know what you're saying. Like you put out something good and now you're just kind of like feeling pressure to put out something like better almost.
well, I understand the pressure, but for me, it's like I can never call upon those moments whenever I choose, whenever
Mm,
I'm put a deadline in front of myself. What I can do is kind of take a step back and kind of like go back into like hermit mode and just fucking, if I gotta work a job, then I'll work a job and pay the rent, but just kind
uh-huh.
of like get lost in it all over again. And really just not judge whatever comes to me and kind of just learn to work with it. I mean, there's some songs that are things that I've just been playing since I was like 15 years old. But then there's other songs that I just came up with the other day, and I'm like, fuck, that's got to go on the record. Like,
You
and
said
it's just
people
like
gotta listen to this.
I've gotten I've gotten a lot better at just kind of like locking into that like just transcendence mode where your soul or whatever just fucking takes over, and it's just like it's just like the next best thing you ever did. I'm not saying every idea that I come up with is a fucking winner. I've had to scrap a lot of shit, but like
Yeah, you gotta come out with like 20 ideas, and maybe one's a winner.
yeah, but see, the thing is the reason why I haven't found myself in a writer's block for a while is because I've had a lot of shit to suffer through. And so the unique thing about being a musician is that we have a core responsibility, not just to feel what we are feeling, but also to articulate how we're feeling so that other people can hear it and go, fuck, I was never able to put that into words. You know, in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just like kind of like a musical thing in anybody watching is like an instrumental artist or something like that. It's like those moments of just like synchronicity between all musical elements that happens, whether it be like a different way of playing a guitar lick or a monumental drum fill or a fucking loop or just a well-placed loop, I should say, or
Make a difference.
just fucking like a way to kind of like, you think of music as this like 3D kind of sonic picture, right? And then you got to have those little moments that kind of make it jump off the page, so to speak. Speaking from the perspective of a visual artist, I feel like you would kind of understand that it's kind of like some shit that grabs your attention and it's just like, fuck, that's really good, like really good line work, or like really good fucking color, like color shading.
Yeah.
By the way, I know I brought it up a couple of times, but I do want to talk about your tattoo work, because if this helps get you some fucking business, like,
Man, I fucking hope.
my boy, let me tell you this. If I was you, bro, and I had like when I make a drawing, it looks like a fucking fourth grader drew it. Okay, so like no offense to fourth graders that are better at me than drawing.
Hey, some of them are really good.
I'm saying, man, some of them, like, I mean, it's wild because like more and more people have like insane amounts of talent and these gifts that they can contribute to the betterment of society. And it's really, it's wild that like you can get as good as you want to get, and there's still always going to be somebody that's better than you. So it's like humbling to like sit back and be like, so what the fuck do I want to do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care about doing like mad crazy finger style shit. Like Eddie Van Halen already existed. Like fucking the guys from Polyphia already exist. You know what I mean? Like,
You
do I
know,
really care about doing the most technical shit, or do I care about more about like the message of the shit that I'm trying to say, which is more centered around the like, get the fuck over yourself and stop doing negative shit expecting it to like get better, or
that's
the
true.
thing is what I would really love to send a message about is to anybody who catches themselves in negative feedback loops where like you're doing the wrong shit on purpose, it's wrong, it gives you a bad outcome, you don't like it, but for some reason you keep doing it. If this is not the message to
That sounds
just
like
kind of
mental
like,
illness.
because like the thing is like I've come to points with people where like they can't even like conceptually, they can't bring them because it's a habit to fuck up or to do
Like they don't
wrong,
grasp
or
it, right?
like they don't grasp it, like for real. Like it's just like, but you understand, like for instance, like I will like everybody who knows who they are in the music industry that is constantly in an attitude of trying to get one over on people. Right. The thing is like business in general is whether regardless of like moral compass, it should be about maintaining relationships. Because if everybody on the block fucking hates you, regardless of whether you charge an arm and a leg for this or this, that, or the third, like taking
You
into
still gotta be
attention.
nice to them.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like you don't see any. You see people like if you go into a gym and you want a gym membership and somebody's the person on the other edge of the counter is like, "Go fuck yourself." And
Maybe
like,
I will. I'm gonna get.
yeah, maybe I will go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, or even like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They have like every industry has its own like predatory practices, and
Oh my god.
it fucking sucks to have to deal with it in corporate world. But the thing is like the same shit is in music. It's just under wraps. It's in private. It's dark. It's seedy. But it's known. But it's like unknown at the same time. And it's like fucking. It's so widely accepted. There's so many fucking predators because they've kind of like been built into the infrastructure of the system at this point. So now it's just kind of like people not wanting to get caught versus not doing shady shit because it's the wrong thing to do. And then you also have like it gets darker, like the kind of shit that goes on in different places from place to place, whether related to the venue, related to this or that or the third or not. You know what I mean? It's just kind of the way the industry moves. And I mean, if I can put anything out there into the world, it would be like, yo, for one thing, listeners, casual listeners, try to support local music because I mean, that's the only way that there's still power in like what we have. You know what I mean? That's the only way that like you know what I mean? Like if you everybody's complaining about like fucking I want to go see Kid Rock and the fucking tickets are $170. Well, yeah, but you can also
That's
go
pretty
see
expensive
a
though.
pretty good band. Like it's especially speaking from Chicago, 9 times out of 10, you don't even know how like privileged you are because of how much talent is centered in Chicago alone. Like, I mean, talking about the performances that I saw from you, Sativa, talking about performance that I've seen from some of our friends in the scene that we know. Like I remember that same show that you played at. There was also another like Mexican artist who was playing songs in Spanish, and he was also like really fucking good. You know what I mean? He had his voice down. He had like technique down. And from touring across the country, whether to my benefit or not, uh, I got a chance to see some like artists from all across the country, and like yes, there's talent everywhere, but it's nothing like Chicago. You know what I mean? And I think like Chicagoans take that shit for granted, for real. And they don't even realize what's in front of them. They'd rather go see fucking, some fucking artist that probably does drink the blood of children or some shit at the fucking amphitheater,
Hey,
at the
maybe
Allstate
that's why he's
Arena, at the
famous.
fucking Wrigley Field, the fucking bullshit this, that, the fucking, and then, or, then you got Reggie's trying to fucking, make you play a fucking door show for charge a fucking original band. Like the only time they can really get in at Reggie's is a fucking Monday. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
and they get
Yeah,
like a
no one's
shit
gonna
door
go
deal
on a
where nobody
Monday.
walks away with any kind of pay. And it's like you could have like a really good artist that's like there just trying to like show you personally, but you put them on the worst fucking day of the week where everybody knows they're not gonna make any money.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like shit. You look like shit, and fucking yeah. I don't give a fuck. I just put Reggie's Rock Club on blast. Like, you know, it is what it is, man. Like, there's speaking away from that, but there are shady practices everywhere. It's just kind of the way the industry moves. And the goal of, I mean, any artist with kind of integrity that is true to themselves and wants to see other people win is like, fucking just do your best to try and avoid shit deals like that, because there are like decent human beings in the industry that do actually care about the community and actually want to build something that is worth kind of fucking having. You see it in sound guys that, do a good job, whether or not it benefits them, whether or not they have a prior relationship with the band, they still are going to be like good sound guys regardless of shit like that. I've had that where I'm like, oh fuck, this guy's here. And he
And
didn't
he
make a
still
sound.
took care of you, huh?
He actually did his fucking he did his fucking job. We had like prior beef kind of shit like that. It just shows up. I'm playing WC Social Club. I see him fucking working the board.
You're like,
And like,
no, no.
I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But ended up fucking sounded great. You know what I mean? So
You're like, he's
you
gonna
have,
fuck me.
yeah. And I mean, it was just like a personal kind of thing that can be buried at this point. You know what I mean? But it's nice to be in kind of an area where you can see people be the bigger person. You can see people be supportive of community, like always being there, and fucking like Brad Herwey, shout out to him. He's the drummer in Punk Bordello, as well as his own project, Arch Heretic. He'll be going on tour with Arch Heretic in May. However, I mean, he does so much work in terms of like cultivating a open mic community for local artists to like be able to show their shit. Like, I
That's pretty
mean, yeah, I mean, fucking, I don't remember when. How long ago did we meet, Sativa?
Oh, dude. Maybe like a year and a half ago. Maybe.
What?
Maybe 2
Where
years.
was it? Do you think it was? Was it an
Oh,
open
you know
mic that
what?
we
It
met?
was at Magoo's.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
No.
I was there to meet up with Wes, and then he was like, "Oh, you should meet this guy." And
Mm.
then I remember you were telling me about your touring and some of the bad experiences, and I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that I had to learn in some sort of way kind of how to do it in the first place. So it's one of those things that like I can't regret because it gave me a platform of like kind of like some sort of inside of knowledge as to how I can propel things forward and get to where I want to be. But when I went on the road with those artists, it kind of also put into perspective what I was just talking about a little while back in this podcast, which is like kind of still having a grasp on reality and not just doing shit to serve your own ego. Like you can't cut corners. You know what I mean? One of the things that we have the fucking begrudging responsibility rather to do is you manage social medias.
It's hard.
It's maybe I should change my fucking mind, but I'm gonna be so real with you. As long as I have to do this shit, I'm gonna fucking hate it. Like
Yeah.
from that perspective, I've done whatever I can to make it fit into my daily life as best as I can, and that would be by doing this, by having conversations with yourself and musicians that I think can really ascend and kind of take off. I mean, obviously, I'm well aware that this podcast will probably be like kind of like grassroots and slow and
It'll
small,
take
but
a while.
I'm like willing to like grind it out and put the work in because it's like really rewarding to have these conversations with like-minded kind of people that are real and are fucking not nepo babies.
Oh, dude, that
You
shit's
know what I
so.
mean? Because
Oh.
it's like, oh, go ahead,
No,
say
no,
it.
that shit's just so annoying. Like seeing like all these people come up, and it's like it's not even because of the talent. It's just because like your daddy or your mommy has all these connections and money, and it's like I'm seeing all this like local talent, and they're actually like more talented, and like some of them are never gonna make it, and it's not because they're not good. It's just because they either don't have the money or don't have the connections or both. And it's just like also we're all kind of poor,
Yeah,
and that kind of
yeah.
gets in the way.
And the other thing is like, there's so many people that are willing to offer somebody who is like susceptible. Like the thing is like if you notice like big labels, major labels kind of only sign like either people that have built the following,
Mm-hmm.
and already have like that kind of like leverage power. I guess that is all. Being able to make people turn up to shows is always going to be like the ultimate kind of uh, ability to have some sort of demand in your hands. right? But I mean, you see that kind of thing being watered down with like the whole like Ticketmaster thing, but not even speaking to that, like the fact that you can't just expect people to kind of like show up is kind of always against you, even if they say they will, you know? That's kind of like a different culture shift
Yeah.
that nobody talks about. It's really fucking annoying. But
You know what's funny? Even even for my female friends that are musicians, which obviously females usually get more support.
mhm.
They still have the same issue where like they'll like maybe tell like 20 people to show up and maybe like three end up showing up.
Yeah. And I mean, the constant struggle to have to try and like navigate that and kind of re-innovate with that. I think the hardest part is having to stay local. Because one of the things that I've noticed is that when you take your shit on the road for some reason, just being from somewhere else that's kind of far away is like the best way to get people like interested in.
Really?
Yeah, because if you think about it, like I think about this show that I played somewhere in Colorado once, right? It was like in the middle of summer. It was like super hot. Our PA cut out like fucking what, like
Sucks.
3 times in the middle of the set, and like the agreement was that we'd play for 2 to 3 hours, I believe, maybe two and a
Wow.
half. I think it was like three. Yeah, but I mean, it was just on the road, and like the band had put out some ads for the tour to the cities that did it. They did it very lazily and half-assedly, mind you, but
Mhm.
those people still came out, and it was good. We got paid. It was a good night.
Wow.
We ate well. And
How
it
much
was like
money?
it was outside of a major city. I don't even remember what the name of the fucking city was at this point, which is I'm gonna be kicking myself till I remember it. But
How much
like
money do you put behind the ad? If you don't
I
mind me.
I didn't see. That's the thing, is I didn't know how much that was at in general. I just know it wasn't very much, you know. So
That's
but people
so-
still saw the ad that were in town because it was a small town. They still came by.
Wow,
There
that's kind
was
of
a lot
cool.
of people there, and like, you know what I mean. We had to like kind of end the show on acoustic guitars, which, we were happy to do because there was like a good turnout there. So, you know, the law of the land for some fucking reason is just if you go somewhere else, 9 times out of 10 they'll take better care of you, especially if it's like a smaller town and you are their biggest event of the night.
You know
Um,
what time to target all these small towns, man.
the hardest part about it is having the infrastructure to go tour. And the funny thing about the Nepo baby conversation that we just had, it kind of ties directly into because a lot of artists with more soul, I feel like, tend to be poorer and have like more real life experience. I feel like because of that, it makes them more rugged, but it also kind of traps them in. And unless you kind of get your sights set on getting a van and booking that shit, um, it's going to be really difficult. And the other thing is that they say that, you'd have to tour for at least a month in order to make it into the green. And I guess that depends on your method of how you do it, because I've seen both moral and immoral methods being used to
Yeah, I've seen it too.
get
Moral
people
or
to
immoral.
shows and also fucking, do the whole tour as a whole. So, I mean, what I would say, I mean, I'm not really in much of a place to give any kind of advice, but from if I can give my most objective kind of advice to anybody, it would probably be work on getting the infrastructure and be willing to commit to touring like that if you really want to make a living doing it, because you're gonna have to do it at least a little bit. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of work to put on one person. And I mean, I learned myself to wear a bunch of hats specifically because I couldn't find anybody else who was willing to pull the weight. When you get out to like a national kind of kind of scale of things, you kind of meet other bands that have had the kind of success that you thought would be it. And it turns out they struggle getting people to shows. It turns
Oh,
out that they, struggle logistically kind of moving their shit. They all live in different kind of areas, and like only two of them actually do any fucking work related to moving the band forward.
wow.
And it's kind of, I mean,
Sounds like a
it
group
comes back.
project.
You said what?
Sounds like a school group project.
I mean, but that's what it ends up kind of fucking being, like all across the country, like because a lot of people want to just show up and play, and of the people that just want to show up and play, then there's the other people who want to make it all about them, and that's why you have like all these fucking rocky dynamics between personalities, because you're essentially taking two people who don't want to do the work, and like them just saying their inherent value comes from only what they bring to the table as a musician. And it's not as much the case if you're willing to do a little bit more. But see, the thing is there's always someone kind of like pinpointing the direction and keeping the train moving, so to speak. So it becomes this it becomes your responsibility as the person who writes the songs and fucking actually does the shit, to make sure that everybody else is happy. And when you mix personalities in with that, it makes it very difficult to kind of get a winning combination, which is why you would just like most bands who have actually like made something worth having, yeah, at least as it looks from fucking an artist just starting out, uh like a following and everything like that, and can get people to show up to shows, like they I mean, they spend so much more money. They only have two people fucking working on the shit, and it's stressful. And if you think about how to get there, like you either got to have like a good job and do it in your free time and somehow make that work. You got to get really good at social media and be able to leverage that. I mean, I've seen bands who make a living off of their social media and touring alone, but they're on live every fucking day. They don't
That
quit, even
sounds
if they're like
exhausting.
recording. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, the thing is like you're always gonna have a job. You know what I mean? It's gonna become a
Isn't that
job if
exhausting? Doing
yeah,
all that at the same time. It's like, damn, when do I have free time?
exactly. But that I mean that comes back around to like how you manage your schedule and everything like that, and where you are at in life. Like the main thing is having money to get started, because you can't really start most businesses without any money, but music is the one that you can kind of at least have like a digital product to sell, only it's been commodified to shit. So, you know what I mean? Honestly, I honestly kind of envy your talent as a tattoo artist, because at least you can make a fucking income doing something else that you also like enjoy doing and would probably do anyway, whether you got paid for it or not.
Yeah,
Not specifically about tattooing, but just visual art in general.
and it's funny because I didn't even plan on doing tattoos. Sorry, I'm plugging in my laptop. It's dying.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even plan on doing tattoos. I just kind of I was bored one day and I was like, oh, I'll just buy this tattoo gun or whatever. And then
But you had to have always drawn though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to draw. I used to be fourth grader that draws.
Okay. I feel you.
But yeah.
Well, that's so. Where could people like look at your work, your portfolio? Are you doing stuff out of a shop? Or are you just doing it freelance?
Right now I'm just doing it at home. I have a few like I guess like loyal customers you would say. Which is pretty cool. But I want to this winter I want to go full time with it, because I figured maybe if I'm just like a tattoo artist, I can, bring that money and use it towards my music. And at the same time, it's like I'm not really working, It's like
Yeah.
I'm tattooing and then I'm doing music, like that would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I wish that was something that I could do. I wouldn't let me in within inches of myself with a needle though.
Hey, they're scary, dude. They're scary.
Yeah, of course they're scary. That's why I respect them. I like, you know what I mean? Like I really appreciate some of the work that you have done. I might have to get some ink from you eventually at some point.
Yeah, just let me know, man. I'm always here.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, so we went over your past. So like what I did want to get to was like, so you had always drawn. You'd always kind of like had the artistic kind of like bug in you. So how did you start? Obviously, you started drawing first, right? And then music came later. So like, how did that journey happen? And how? I mean, at what point were you like, yo, I should just kind of like, I mean, at what point did you get to what you were talking about earlier, where you were just like, I could probably just use this
You
interchangeably
know,
because I fuck with them both so much.
you know what's funny? I started in like 2019 to make music. But it was more of like a hobby. Like it was like, oh, let me just make this and put it out. And I wasn't even really doing like real cover art for it, or I wasn't even mixing and mastering it at all. Like I was just kind of like putting it out there. And I kind of did that for a while, and then one day I was like, I kind of had like an epiphany, and I was like,
Mhm.
I could actually, why don't I actually try to do this, And it's
Mhm.
like it's already kind of like a hard thing to do, just in general, like try to make it in music, because the
Mhm.
way I want to make it is like Drake, but obviously
Yeah.
getting there is like almost impossible. But it's like I believe in myself, and it's like,
Yeah.
let's just try it out. So I started making like music, like actually making it like seriously, like around the time we met.
Oh, wow.
That's when
Wow.
I started going to open mics and stuff. So I went to like 60 in 1 year, because I wanted to hit all the different areas in Illinois, and I would purposely go out of my way and try to talk to like the organizers, or like anyone that I saw had a lot of talent.
Uh,
So right now I have like a lot of, I'd say, connections.
yeah.
But I'm still trying to make more, and I've kind of gotten lazy and I haven't been to as many open mics. But now I'm more focused on like doing like actual showcases and like opening for bigger artists. So that's
And
where I'm at right now.
and so did you said that you went to 60 open mics
Mm-hmm.
in what, in a year, in 6
Yeah,
months, in a year?
oh, well, around 7
7?
months.
Okay.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
I'd hit 2 every week, and
And were there times where you're just like, fuck, I really don't want to do this right now?
I feel like I was going through a manic episode, because I have bipolar, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes for months I'll feel like really motivated and like strong and like fearless, and then that's when you'll notice like I'll put out a lot of content,
Uh-huh.
and then I'll have months where I can't do shit, and
Right.
so I just don't do shit. And I guess I was just really motivated at that point. But now that I'm thinking about it, it does sound kind of exhausting hitting 2 open mics every week. It's like, damn, bro,
Yeah.
like where do I get the time?
And that's, yeah, well, yeah, because you also like, I mean, everyone's gonna probably conveniently forget that we are normal fucking people that have to
Hmm.
work a job and don't have $350 million that Spotify gave us for a
Yeah,
fucking
right.
podcast. We could get there though, if you like and share and fucking take care of this podcast. We could get there, maybe.
We'll get there.
I don't know. I feel like we talk too much shit over here.
Yeah.
I kind of just leave everybody unchecked. We can talk about whatever here.
Hey, I think
I got
people
it,
like
like,
that.
in the last episode, Austin Rogers of Bad Future. Shout out to Austin Rogers. I mean, there's a couple points where I was just like,
You're like,
it
oh no, they're gonna hear this.
was like,
Damn, so it's just a roast session or what?
no. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's the only thing I can say about it is just like, it's not my fucking fault, bro. This is like real people telling their real side of the fucking shit. So like, maybe if you don't want people to be saying shit like that, maybe you should
don't be
improve
doing shit,
conditions in this
right?
fucking country, bro. Maybe fucking take some fucking accountability. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But you didn't hear that from me. I didn't say that. I don't know.
There's since we're roasting people, I'm not gonna name them, but there's quite a few shitty promoters in
Yeah.
Indiana and Illinois. So if you're hearing this, just watch out. Definitely predatory practices.
And the thing is like when it comes to those predatory practices, like I feel like one of the things I got to be like, hats off to Chicago as opposed to other cities is like, I feel like Chicago is above all pretty really good at like kind of like weeding out that stuff. And I'm talking about specifically like the community. Like I'm not saying that it'll always get like you'll hear charges pressed or this, that, or the other thing. But what I am saying is like the community knows about it and will tell other people like, hey, this guy is fucking trying to drug women type shit. You know what I mean? This guy is trying to do this. This guy is trying to do that other shit. So the word gets around, and like I mean, then there's like the people that have a little bit more integrity, whether they're musicians or not, or just like fans of the music, that they'll fucking
They'll call that shit out.
They'll call that shit out. They will call that shit out in one way or another. And I mean, Chicago just as a city don't play. It's a microcosm of life. You know what I'm saying?
We
like
don't play.
you can look at the state of the world just by how the L is riding. Like, did you see a murder on the L? No. Well, I mean, that's lucky, but they happen. Like,
oh my god, bro! One of my friends.
It's terrible of me to say, but it's true.
One of my friends was on the train, and I guess some guy tried taking his shoes.
Oh my god!
While they were on his feet.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's crazy. Like, I mean, I guess it's like, you want my shoe? I guess I'm kidding.
The amount of times I've been on the L and it's just been like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk to any of these fucking people right now.
Sometimes I kind of want to go to New York just so I can get on the subway and see what I see.
Honestly, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as Chicago. Like,
really?
Yeah. And the funny thing is like Chicago is still somehow better because at least like, it's unbothered. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, New York it's kind of like exactly what they have always said. Like the culture of New York is very much like, I'm on my way, don't talk to me kind of shit. And at least like, you know what I mean? There could be like a crackhead pissing in the subway station, like right in front of you and this other dude that you've never fucking met or will ever see again in your life. He's got like a briefcase and is on his way to, some sort of fucking like big boy job or some shit.
Big boy job.
You know what I mean? You just like look at the crackhead, you look at him, and you're like, "Hey, bro, you got the time?" Like, whereas in Chicago, he'd be like, "Yeah, bro, it's 3:57." And you're like, "Oh, thanks, man." And then you both just go back to ignoring the crackhead, and then fucking in New York, it's kind of just like, even though they see that shit every day, I don't know.
It's kind of funny.
And then I mean, if you're not plastic in LA, I mean, public transit isn't much of a thing. I mean, they got buses, but I can't imagine that they're better than the Pace bus. I can't imagine that they're any worse than Austin. Austin isn't bad, but there have been a couple of times where I lived there and I was just trying to go to work and like I'm like there on time instead of like an hour early because I know these motherfuckers. But like there have been times where I'm just like last resort at the bus stop that I'm supposed to be.
So I have a
supposed
question.
To be at, and then they just fucking pass my ass right up, and I'm just like, fuck.
So I have a question.
What's up?
What are good ways to make money while you're on tour?
Well, I would consider. I mean, the hardest thing about it, there's this whole like culture shift, into people really wanting to, say that remote jobs are the way forward. But I feel like if you have to work another job while you're on the road that wouldn't like the fact that you're on the road, then you're not really doing it. So
That's
you're telling me you like pay money that you make from being on the road to not be on the road, to go out on the road and play to nobody that finds you in the same negative feedback. That doesn't make sense to me, bros, because don't get me wrong, I understand that it's going to take investment. You know, I understand working a job until you go on the road, but I mean, it makes it very difficult because Monday through Wednesday ain't shit happening. So you're better off like if you could pick up an acoustic type gig, being able to do something during those days, at least a couple of them, because then it comes back to logistics and how you're gonna like manage things with gas and touring. How are you traveling? Are you doing like a small motorhome? Are you doing like a van? How many people do you have to bring on the road? If it's just you, then you could probably fucking take on the world in a Honda Civic. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Civic, fuck it. I know what car to get next.
If you're cool with just like letting the back, the hardest thing is like having an effective show that draws people in, being able to get people there, and fucking when you're taking it on the road, like how logistics, like how many people is it gonna take to make that shit like really pop? And because the thing is like I don't think I want to tour 8 months out of the year for my entire life, which is kind of like industry standard if you're trying to talk about like actually getting somewhere. Like how many shows should you be booking? That I mean, most sponsorships from like companies to endorse you and do that whole bit don't even want to fucking look in your direction unless you're playing like 150 shows a year.
Wow.
Which is a lot of fucking shows. That's a lot of fucking shows.
That's a lot of
very
work.
difficult to do that. And it's very difficult to get to that point. And I do know people who have every endorsement that you ever could have thought of, but you know, they have very unique elements to their story. And I honestly do hope that I have them on the podcast. Like one of them
should watch.
One of them played Warped Tour and was a drummer then,
wow.
and now also DJs as well as has his own like metal EDM kind of hybrid band. And then another one is actually kind of I put him on to one of his next better gigs through failing it myself, failing the audition. It's really not that deep, but you know, he has every endorsement under the sun, hangs out, you know, knows at least the drummer for Ringo Starr, Greg Bissonette. And then like I also know you know, a couple others here and there, but
how they get
they
those
are able to do that because they run schools. They do something else like that. It also fits well into their way of life. Like if you're talking about a drummer with a school, he teaches students, and that's like his primary income unless he's on the road. And then he has that bargaining power to make sure that they don't fuck him over after a single tour. You know what I mean? Because he actually has something to bring to the table, which was my problem. I didn't really have that. I was just like, I can at least do it. I can at least be free, and you know, fucking, I got evicted from my apartment, so I can fucking go on the road.
Wow.
That's kind of how that happened.
How was it? Was it worth it? Or is that the
It was worth it, but if someone were to say that was my metaphor for sacrificing my soul, I wouldn't agree, but I'd say, okay, maybe kind of right. Because, I mean, I was broke in every city across the fucking United States. That's not fun. You know what I mean? That's not, don't get me wrong. I had like good experiences at times, and I enjoyed the music, but at the end of the day, the only way that those experiences served me was in showing me how not to live and how not to look at things and what not to do. It also did show me what to do, so I also can't regret it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's very difficult because, you know, you think of, you know, casual listeners kind of looking at you and being like, did you learn your lesson? And you're like, well, no, because I kind of got a lot
You're like,
out of
I do
it.
it
It
again.
just fucking hurt real bad. You know what I mean? It's kind of like knowing how not to land a trick, like when you're skateboarding after having fucking. Sorry, my girlfriend just came home from.
You're okay.
What's up? We're live on the podcast. What's going on? Yeah. Okay. Oh shit. What time do you gotta leave? Okay. All right. All right. Sorry about that.
You're okay.
I could probably edit that out at some point. God knows if I will though. Anyway, what was I talking about? So like, did you learn your lesson? Absolutely fucking not, because I actually have to use a lot of that shit for where I'm trying to go. I know how to get there now, but it fucking hurt really bad getting there, kind of like a skate fall if you learn how to land a trick right after it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
you eventually learn.
yeah. Eventually, like Tame Impala said, I guess. Eventually.
Is that one of your favorite bands?
No. I mean, no, not really. They were just kind of like a favorite of my generation. If you think about fucking millennial music like that, I hear
Wait,
that
how old
song,
are
I
you?
immediately think of like 2013, like my junior year of high school, 2013, 2014. You know,
So you're like 27?
28.
28. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math, okay?
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. How old are you again?
I'm 26.
26. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so we're
Cool.
same ballpark.
Okay. Sweet.
We're both
That's
gonna
good
hit 30.
because I feel like we live in this really kind of unique in between of like, you know, we grew up not before the internet, but like before the internet was really started popping off with like social
Like
media.
right in the beginning.
Like right in the beginning, before, like, I mean, I remember having a corded phone when I was growing up. Do you remember having that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember
Yeah.
having to go to the library to get access to the internet.
Yeah, I remember that too.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of like the library.
I liked it too. It's just I mean, kind of started becoming obsolete in a kind of way, but I have used libraries since like when I first moved to Austin. There was a couple of songs I actually wrote while I was sitting at a fucking library just like
Really?
brooding.
That's pretty
Yeah. Yeah. At the Austin Public Library, shout out.
Shout out
Whatever.
to the Austin Public Library.
Yeah, I guess read or some shit, kids. But yeah, honestly, I like that whole way of life. I honestly, you know what I want to do? When I'm hoping to be able to start booking the Chicago style tour, like beginning in like somewhere in 2026, probably this time of that year. I kind of have cold feet about reaching out because I kind of want to like see
How
what
come?
goes on with this podcast real quick and see if I can like approach it better from like a standpoint of maybe a little bit more leverage. Maybe this gets more of a following. I don't know. I hope. One can dream. But when I start booking that, one of my goals is to have a fucking GameCube in the tour van
A
because
GameCube?
yeah, I had to swear off video games because otherwise I'll just get obsessed with it. And too many birds have too many times have I fucking been balls deep in a game and fucking I hear the birds chirping outside and you're like, oh fuck, it's like 6 a.m.
That's crazy. Hey, it does get addicting.
It is, yeah. But I the kind of the way that I do something kind of ends up being the way that I try to do everything. So I like obsess over it and I get like really like, yeah, let me fucking learn how to do all this shit. Let me beat the campaign. Let me fucking this, that, and the other thing. Find all the Easter eggs type shit.
Oh, you're the side quest guy?
Once I've beaten the game on every difficulty, you know what I mean? Like,
Damn, you
if I
said I'm gonna
can,
get my money's worth.
I mean, yeah, honestly, because it mainly ends up being like Star Wars and Spider-Man. That's what I give a
I
shit the
love
most
those
about.
games.
I loved the Avengers game, but my only problem with it is that they didn't have the actual actors in the mocap suits.
Oh no.
So like it's like I remember sitting down and playing it for the first time, and like the gameplay is great, like it's everything you'd want out of a Marvel game, but like you get to the cutscenes and it's not Robert Downey Jr., it's not Chris Hemsworth, it's like these other fucking guys, and you're like
it's like they're from Wish or something. The Wish Avengers.
The Wish Avengers. Exactly. Yes, that is exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, man.
But yeah, so I mean that would be nice. Guitar Hero, just because it's a classic. I mean, honestly, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I should really just be practicing if I'm gonna do that. But,
yeah, right.
Okay, that was one of the reasons I had this rule with myself, is because I had like a fucking really nice guitar that I had for many years. Gibson Les Paul Classic. Gold
hey,
top.
wait, why don't you show us? I'll show you my guitar.
Oh, I don't have that one anymore right now. I'm
you don't?
something else. Yeah, but I will show you my guitar. I will do that real quick. But fucking, I had that guitar, and I think it was maybe my junior or senior year of high school, right around that time. I'm like sitting there fucking focusing on like playing on expert on fucking Through the Fire and Flames on fucking Guitar Hero 3. And I'm like looking over into the corner. I'm like, wait, oh yeah, I play real guitar. And I fucking should probably pick it up because there's dust on this really nice fucking instrument right here.
To see it, right?
Yeah. So I was just like, my Xbox got the red ring. That was actually what made me stop. Because I didn't even stop there. I just noticed it and felt bad. Just.
That's funny, dude. I hated when that shit would happen to me when I was younger. That shit happened to like 2 of my Xboxes, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. What's wild is I could have probably made more money faster if I had stuck with it and just like did that shit on live. Because like even before, like those kind of things have kind of existed congruently, or sorry, parallel rather. And they fucking, you know what I mean? Like you've always seen like the fucking Guitar Hero mod things with people just playing on it, people just giving gifts for people playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Streaming. It's like I've said it a couple of times, but like I think about some of this shit and it's just like, wow, they really fucking took the power of being a musician like and just threw it out the fucking window. So it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That's liberating and it's freeing because you can do whatever the fuck you want. But I mean, that is also kind of what the reality of status quo comes to be, is just like, nobody gives a fuck. And then people are just getting dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
no one cares until it affects them.
Let this be a warning to everybody listening out there. Challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really talk shit because I don't really like to read personally. Like I can't sit still. I always have to be like doing something or thinking of a fucking drum beat or fucking annoying the shit out of my girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Damn, you're over there. You're over there saying you can't sit still, and I'm over here like the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope he doesn't notice.
Yeah, no, it's wild too because I'm also fidgeting and like kind of doing that whole thing. I actually really love fidget spinners. I had this really nice one from DW, and I think it was like the best thing in their entire product line, even though it was like cheap, because like I just all the time just would fucking fuck with that fidget spinner, and it's really good for me, especially in situations like this where we're sitting for an extended period of time just kind of talking aimlessly. I'm sure, what's funny is like I'm sure that a conversation like the one that we have had would probably piss off like the average neurotypical. Yeah. And I mean the beautiful thing about being a creative who kind of makes it work for them is kind of just like,
it's like, all right,
sorry if you hate it. You're welcome for the music. Like, so it's like it's kind of the direct opposite of how a type A personality would feel. And there have been some people in my life across time who have tried to make me feel bad for it. And one of the beautiful things, a callback to earlier in the same conversation that we were talking about, is like when you finish a work, whether it be a visual, be it audio, be it fucking any form of art, that you step back and you're like, wow, I fucking did that. It opens this door for if you didn't love yourself before, now you have a reason to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And sometimes as an artist, growing with that feeling is it's difficult, because then you're like, well, now I don't hate myself anymore, so what do I write about? You know what I mean? And the funny
you're like, no, tell me why. I had that thought before. I was like, if I cure my depression, will I still make good stuff? You know,
and the two things don't have to be like mutually exclusive. Like, you don't have to sit there and fucking like write about like fucking sunshines and lollipops, because life is still not that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there's plenty of shit going on outside. But me personally, the way that I approach that question is I just try to make some shit that I feel like I can grow with, and kind of look back 40 years from now and be like, yeah, I'm proud of the message that I put out there. I mean, this is also coming from someone who is currently like, the current song that I'm working on is like kind of like a year or two into the future of my releases, but it's called GFYS. And I don't know if you can
I'll
kind of
remember
tell
it
what
when I
that
see
sounds.
it. I'll be like,
Well,
I'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. You know?
yeah, no, it's literally, the song is called "Go Fuck Yourself." It's about like this kind of manager that I had while I was working at a fast food restaurant that I will not name because I don't have the money to go to court right now.
Talk your shit.
But it's about this bitch named Lindsay. Bitch named Lindsay, you know who the fuck you are.
Lindsay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got fired. But it was really
Damn.
just because what had happened is like she pulled the schedule. That the general manager who had just like kind of taken over, he had made the schedule. She pulled it along with me, and like hours for me and multiple other people that she just didn't like, and it was kind of common knowledge that she didn't like those people because she fucking berated them and treated them like shit, and they
That's
just weren't
crazy. And
standing
no one
for it.
yelled
They
at
were
her
just
or
like,
what?
fuck you. You said what?
No one yelled at her or what? That's crazy.
No, the company kind of like looked at her seniority as kind of like the thing. And what's wild is like that general manager I had worked with at a sister store that did 3 times the business. So they would make like 110 grand a week, and they'd be
Wow.
busy. Like you would have to, it would be like one of those few fast food, not few, but it'd be like one of those fast food jobs where you actually come in and have to bust ass, even though
Wow.
it's still minimum wage. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
But it was well regulated by the manager at that location, so it wasn't such a big deal because at least everything ran with uniformity. This is a tight ship, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get away with doing any kind of wrong shit, but at the end of the day, hey, I can't be mad at that because at least they're doing their fucking job. At least he's doing what he gets paid to do. You know what I mean? There's not all these like cracks. Like, nobody's being treated unfairly. You can see it. Like, it's a team.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to like have like this attitude of malice. Everybody, like, even though everybody doesn't always like fucking prep the shit as well for the next staff, there's always that one person that kind of takes care of everybody. You know what I mean? There's that camaraderie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it kind of, that's the reason why they make 3 times the business, is because they have a little bit more of like a sense of community. You don't feel bad about doing exactly, you know what I mean, what is expected of you, even though it's hard work,
I used
and
to work
that's,
in a
that's
McDonald's.
nice, that's great. But when I transferred over to this fucking location, Jesus fucking Christ, everybody's doing shit wrong. People picking their ears with the managers, picking their fucking ears while fucking on the line with their gloves on, type shit, just serving food like that, never washing their hands, never changing their gloves, fucking like just being generally dirty. And on top of that, my brother, fucking they still want you to pay like fucking like what their discount was something fucky. It was like maybe a 50% discount on the food, regardless of whether you make it or not. 50% discount on the food up to like $13, and then it starts cutting it off. So they're basically like punishing new hires and shit for the mistakes of people prior to them. But the thing is like, how do you get the first thing that I just came from? You have to have people that are from an area like that you kind of like respect their word because they come from a little bit better of a tighter shit. They know what to do. Nobody had to train me when I walked in to that job. You know what I mean? Because I already knew it. I'd already been doing it. And then I'm thinking like, okay, I can just keep my head down and worry about my own shit until the other manager who ended up taking over gets here. Because that was always kind of like a thing that was up in the air. You know what I mean? Even before it happened. And he comes in, we're cool, we're good. You know, I'm happy to work, you know, on his shifts. He's running a tight ship. He's doing the same thing, but these people don't want to let go of their habits. They're very hateful. They're very spiteful. It's very middle schooly kind of shit. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. And so the company favors this person who is like maybe like half a pay grade above me, not even actually fully a manager. She's pulling the fucking general manager schedule, and you're favoring her word over these other people who come in on time and do their shift and fucking just try to do their job and be left alone. If that's who's firing me, I'm like, well, fuck you then. You know what I mean? Like,
you're like, all right, no loss there.
If you're committed to giving people bad service, like, good luck with that shit, bro. Because I don't roll like that, asshole.
No, for real.
So now I work at a gym, and I won't say what gym that I work at, just, you know, to keep myself fucking
safe?
Yeah. Sounds gay.
No, but for real, there be some weird ass people online, man. You never know who's watching.
Yeah. You know, it is what it is. I'm sure someone's gonna come at me sideways for having said that, but you know, I don't really give a fuck. I mean, it is what it is. I don't mean it against anybody who rolls like that. You know what I mean? It's 2025. We're good. I feel like we can understand that the enemy that we should kind of be focusing on.
Dude, I used to work at a dude, I used to work at a Dunkin', and they would literally, like, the food would fall on the ground sometimes, and they just pick it up and bag it.
Oh, gross, bro. And you know what's fucked up about that is, like, my first job ever was actually at a Dunkin' Donuts, and it was a fucking negative experience. Mainly because, like, they wouldn't let it came to a point where you couldn't, like, give anybody the stuff that was going out at the end of the night. And new shit comes up on the shelf like every fucking day from a central kitchen.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you, like, the shit has to go out at the end of the day, but you can't take it, you can't give it to anybody else, or at least that's what you're supposed to fucking kind of abide by. But it's just this wasteful fucking culture that is just really fucking ridiculous. And the other thing is that it's a weird dichotomy because the food isn't good to actually begin with because there's so many fucking artificial preservatives and dyes. You know, that's actually why our generation looks. I won't cite the sources because this is obvious. I've heard it in reputable places, and I mean, if you know anything about America, it just kind of makes sense. But most of the preservatives, the reason why our generation kind of looks younger than previous generations for longer is actually because of the preservatives in the food, which is like, thank you, but it also causes so many fucking issues down the line. You know what I'm saying?
So where do I get more of these?
Yeah, and it's like at this point, like it's like a loaded conversation that has almost become its own kind of like feedback loop in and of itself. Where like you can't focus on it's its own rabbit hole that you can't focus on too long because then you're sitting there just fucking wondering what can I fucking use? Like fucking plastic is bad for you. BPA's other thing, microplastics. We eat a credit card worth of plastic fucking every month. Like, bro, where's the road back from this shit? I don't even know.
I was just about to say how I read about how now there's microplastics in sperm too.
Bruh, what does that even mean?
How does that even
bro?
happen?
Like, how is that gonna? I mean, so I saw this video a while back. I want to say it was
Make a
on.
bitch eat plastic.
It was like a documentary on like Tubi or some shit like that, or
Oh,
some
I love
other free
Tubi.
streaming. Tubi's the shit. Fucking, it's kind of funny though. Like what was I gonna say?
Roku City.
Oh yeah. So there's this guy that apparently the documentary is centered around this guy who comes from the future. He's like wearing a
Or
COVID
he doesn't
mask.
leave the room.
I don't know actually. I think remember him like having a couple of different things, like a couple of different settings. Or no,
Oh, never mind.
maybe it was even just outside. He just arranged to meet with this documentarian to get the word out type shit. I don't remember if it was supposed to be. It's like it's supposed to
No.
feel like real and factual, but it's like technically fictional for legal purposes or something like that. It's basically this documentarian noting this guy who says that he's from the future. And he basically just kind of addresses all of the shit that's going on right now, but it felt a little kind of like political leaning for me to like
kind of like biased
take
a
it
little bit.
seriously. You know what I mean? It was very like it came out after Trump, but it was very much kind of anti-Trump. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm not for anybody is the weird thing, like because I can't really. You can't. There's that South Park episode that's like, yeah, you got a douche and a turd sandwich like over here, and they're battling for everybody's vote and attention.
Yeah.
What do you want to? What do you want to be your school mascot? And it's like, I don't fucking want either of them.
I agree.
And then like, you're not gonna vote. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how, bro?
Personally,
you can't have me out here voting for literal cartoon characters and expect anybody with like a self-aware kind of consciousness of fucking like if you're a halfway intelligent human being, you're just like, okay, they're bad. They're both bad choices. I'm not voting for either of them. You know what I mean? For all I know, they both kill fucking babies. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like they should be able to like let like regular Americans like also like run in elections and not just like rich people. You know what I mean? I think that's crazy.
The thing is we should by now we have the technology. You know, we can fucking. I mean, the thing is we have the technology. It's just like the inability of the system to actually do anything that the people actually fucking want. Because it's funny in that we should be very well able to just have a voting app that comes on your phone. You should kind of do, like, in my opinion, I feel like we should just kind of do away the whole idea of fucking presidents, because the whole popularity contest thing is really batshit insane to me.
I agree.
But like you should be able to just do it from an app on your phone. Like, you know what I mean? It took us this long for the IRS to actually volunteer a tool after so many years of TurboTax, like lobbying Congress to keep taxes the way that they are in the United States to make it fucking harder. And what's wild is this is not like fucking competed on information. This is not fucking like uncommon to know at this point. So what's wild to me is in this information age is like kind of going forward and like everybody silently knowing shit, and you know, people on TikTok kind of being the only ones not afraid to like talk about the shit. And then that being also curated because we are also very well aware that somehow
isn't that crazy?
TikTok changed at a certain point for sure, but you know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna do about it? At this point, I'm just kind of glad that my shit still gets out there. I'm not so worried about that, but it's like, where do we go? What the fuck does this mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because then we're just outliers over here, just kind of like trying to live our normal fucking lives.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. It kind of feels like unstable. Like I feel like me as an artist, just in general, it's like where do we go from this? You know, like how is this going to affect all of us as artists?
How's it going to affect us as artists, but also as people, and also like I've talked to a lot of people that seem to think that shit is just going to go straight like to Mad Max. And I think it would be viable to know that we saw through COVID that it can do that shit. We can all be polarized against each other just based on some fucking bullshit. That's what happened during COVID. Sorry. That's real. But it can this fragile ecosystem that we have so kind of built for ourselves, it can go down in like a fucking heartbeat. Like our entire touring industry, imagine you're on the road and you got to come home because another like martial law or COVID like event fucking happens. You know what I mean? Like,
Hearing that it's gonna happen too, and I don't even know how to prepare for that. It's like, what can we even do?
the only thing I can do is get my guitar out, and if I get shot, then I mean, whatever.
It's like there's like a riot going on and you're just sitting there with your guitar.
I mean, like, what am I supposed to do, bro? You think I'm not gonna fight cops, bro? I'm just gonna sit out over here.
Most of them are pretty big too.
And the other thing is just that, like, I mean, the establishment doesn't respect them either. So I mean, like,
isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't get it. I'm gonna have to like totally edit out this last half hour just for like very exclusive. Just
yeah. Is this the extended version?
This is gonna be the extended version for sure. I'm gonna cut it off at like an hour because that's kind of where we derailed into some shit that could be, you know what I mean, quite polarizing. But I'm glad it's here because it gives me an opportunity to give some sort of exclusive content that is real. Oh, and authentic.
Yeah, I think people like that.
Yeah. I think so too. It gives them something to like subscribe to the fucking Patreon for. But no, I mean, this has been like great fucking content. I got my girlfriend texting me like, "Are you done yet?"
You gotta get going, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So is there anywhere where like, so are you playing any shows coming up? Or are you still working it out?
I'm doing a little tour right now. I call it the 420 mini tour. Because the shows that I'm doing are basically centered around 420. So
Nice.
I'm gonna do one in right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one in Lyle and another in Aurora, and then the last one in Missouri at a 420 festival. But you can find all of these events, and you can get tickets for them too on my Spotify.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else that you have for the viewers in terms of like promo? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say?
Yeah. Well, just listen to me. Listen to me.
That is the big one, right?
if you really want to support me, check out my Spotify, share it, and follow me because I'm gonna be bringing out some more stuff and it's gonna be really good. I'm gonna make sure that the quality's up there, the work's gonna be put in, and you're gonna enjoy yourself once you listen to these tunes.
Hell yeah! Well, right on, brother. As sounds like a fucking right on, brother. No, that's good. It's been really good having you on the podcast. I'm gonna do like a little cut right here so that it starts like right before you started talking about like your links and everything like that. But
okay.
If you're here with us now, you can get the whole unedited version of this conversation on my Patreon. It's going to be patreon.com/PunkBordello. We talked about some real things. We talked about what was really on our fucking minds.
Oh, no, for real.
And I mean, we just kind of let it all out. Hence why there's got to be a little exclusivity to that to where we kind of went off the rails there. In a good way. It's a positive way. Hopefully you guys feel us. But you can subscribe to my Patreon. I am gonna try and edit it to be like $3 a month. Please listen to Punk Bordello. Check out the stuff that's about to release on Bandcamp. Check out the stuff that has been released on Spotify. I'm also trying to grab those numbers, try and get a little further, add us to your playlist. Add Sativa Reyes, add him to your Spotify playlist, and catch him on his 420 mini tour. And yeah, that's gonna be me signing out. Thank you, Sativa, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you all on the next episode. Thank you.